everyone, and welcome to Tech Talks. This is a new series of bite-sized videos where we're going to be taking a closer look at all sorts of topics in the manufacturing, engineering, technology space based on our experiences here at Corso Systems. So for those who aren't familiar with us, we are a technology integration company specializing in solutions for the manufacturing industry, such as MES, SCADA, PLC programming, information systems, and really all kinds of different custom implementations that we do for our customers. So really there's no better way for us to kick off this whole series than to start with the basics of OEE, which is just really common need in the industry, and it's the type of project that we certainly come across all the time. All right, so OEE stands for Overall Equipment Effectiveness, which is simply just a metric that is the closest thing possible to a universal standard answer to the age-old question of how is my production operation actually doing? So OEE can be defined at any level in the production model for an organization, all the way from individual machines to lines to areas, facilities, or we can even apply it to a single efficiency number for an entire enterprise. To really achieve this answer, we must break down OEE into three separate categories: availability, performance, and quality. So availability is just the actual uptime of the machine or location, whatever we're looking at, divided by the total amount of time it could have been running. So how much were we actually producing parts versus how long were we supposed to be producing parts? Performance is the ratio of actual cycle time of units produced with the ideal cycle time for those units. So we say, hey, we're going to be able to make 100 widgets an hour, but really we only made 80 widgets this hour. So we're operating at like an 80% performance rate. Then we have quality. Quality is the total number of saleable units produced divided by the total number of units produced. So again, we made 100 widgets that hour of production, but then we came back and we said, hey, well, 20 of those units were actually scrapped. Something was wrong with them. So again, this is going to drive our overall efficiency number down. In this case, it's because of quality rather than our machine not being available or we weren't running as fast as we could have been. So there are three different ways that we can kind of break down that OEE number and give us some more granularity on what was actually causing the problem. And that's ultimately how these three numbers are interrelated. To get that OEE number, that single number, we simply just multiply the availability times the performance times the quality, and that aggregates them all up into a single number. So sometimes you'll see companies might only look at an OEE number on a dashboard or on a daily production shift report, but most of the time out there you're probably going to see companies looking at those individual APQ numbers, and they're not going to be far away on some dashboards and reports because people can see right away what is individually driving those OEE numbers down or improving those numbers. All right, so now that we understand kind of how this OEE number is calculated mathematically, let's kind of shift gears here into talking about how we can actually get started in building a system to actually collect, store, and display this valuable data. So we're going to start with a platform, right? This is the skeleton that we need to provide the foundation for all of this data flow. For this, the team at Corso Systems, we usually work with the Ignition platform by inductive automation due to its just intuitive design, its high performance in industrial settings, its plethora of data connection points, database storage options, all sorts of awesome things that the team over at Inductive Automation has put together for that. But really choosing the right platform that is purposely built for OEE collection and visualization can really be difficult. I mean, there's a ton of great options out there that people can use, not just Inductive Automation or the third-party Sepasoft modules. So there's a lot of different elements that kind of go into what would be the best system for your needs, your operations. Are you simply looking for a quick, how am I running on a simple production operation, or is this kind of an enterprise-wide data collection scheme where we want to have some store and forwarding capabilities? We want to compare one facility to another. We have high-speed production lines. There's all sorts of different variables that kind of go into what an ideal solution is for you. But it all starts with the platform. and getting really comfortable and familiar with how that platform works with your operations, how you can send data into it, how you can visualize data from that. And if you need more information on kind of what makes the most sense for you, don't hesitate to reach out to us at Corso Systems. We've worked with all sorts of different platforms over the years, and we can kind of help steer you in the right direction and find something that's going to work best. So the other key aspect here on getting started is just to really think about the data side of this. Data is really what's going to be driving this whole system for you. Really the most important thing to remember here with OEE is that OEE is very much of a garbage in, garbage out type of initiative. And what I mean by that is whether data is being collected automatically from machines via OPC or MQTT, or we're collecting data manually by operators logging into an HMI terminal and manually inputting in when they've scrapped a part or thrown it into a scrap bin. It's imperative that the OEE system here receives accurate information, or else the numbers at the end of the day aren't going to get you anything. You aren't going to be able to drive results off of that. So, for example, with this, we might have found the machine status bit in a PLC that tells us whether the operation is currently producing parts or it's in a downtime state. Great. This helps us get that availability collection, right? Well, what we really got to understand here is how users are going to interact with the OEE solution once it's put together, right? Anyone can kind of collect this information up, do the math calculations, and visualize a number. But what we got to understand here is, what's the next thing that someone's going to want to do when they see, for example, if they have a low OEE number due to availability. They're going to ask that question, well, why was the machine not running? Great, you told me we weren't running instead of producing parts when we should have. Therefore, my OEE numbers come down, but why? Did the machine jam? Did a motor die? Was there even any product feeding into the machine at that time for it to do what it needed to do? So all of these questions are just really important for us to be able to get actionable results to actually come out of this OEE solution. Do we need to have our maintenance and controls team focus on making some key improvements to the equipment so it stops jamming, or do we need to replace these motors and that's why the machine keeps stopping on us? Or maybe the real story here is that our scheduling information is not efficient and we're scheduling our production runs coming from data from ERP that is not allowing us to be really agile, and it's causing some bottlenecks for us on the manufacturing floor. And really, once we get to this layer and we are pulling in all the machine status information and the downtime information and the production information that we can from the shop floor, again via automated processes or manual processes, now we are kind of getting into the stage where we can fine-tune how that information is being presented to the different groups and personnel within our operations. Someone might only really care about how efficient is our scheduling information. Someone else might only care about what is the maintenance information that we can improve on these machines to help them run more effectively. There's all these different teams and groups within our organization that are going to be looking at the same stream of data in an OEE application in a multitude of different ways. So this is where it's really critical for us to think about how we're visualizing that, how we're reporting that out. Are we alarming and notifying users when something happened of critical nature, like a machine going down and entering a downtime state? Or how can we collect the scheduling information compared to what we actually produced and share that with the ERP and the management team to fully understand how new orders that are coming into the production operations are impacting what's currently happening today. Lots of different ways that we can look at that. We certainly don't have time to get into all of that today on this episode of Tech Talks. But as always, if you're hunting for more information or a deeper understanding of OEE, come check out our website at corsosystems.com. We have all sorts of great blog posts and other videos and information that can really help paint the picture here for you. We also have a great blog post that we posted the other day out there that kind of talks about this OEE concept and applies it in a real world application in the cannabis industry, actually, for machines that are making pre-rolls. So if you want to kind of see how this all fits together in a real world application, come check out that blog post. I'll post a link in the video description below. So thanks for listening, and we hope to see you next time on Tech Talks.